Good morning, sir.
हेलो। Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Satya. Hello. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How many of you have so far joined? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ji, sir.
How many have joined so far?
Okay.
29, 28, sir.
28.
Yes, sir.
So should I start here or no? Should I wait for another 2-3 minutes?
यस सर स्टार्ट करिए
Okay. Last time I started with discussion on Galois theory, and we are building blocks to prove the fundamental theorem of Galois theory. And what we said, as I told you, that what is our aim in this particular section is just to find whether a given particular polynomial has got some general method of solving it. And we know that there exists general method of solving any polynomial equation of degree 2, degree 3, and degree 4. And then the question was whether there exists any general method of solving a polynomial equation of degree greater than equal to 5. The answer was given in negative by Abel, but his proof had been very clumsy. So a refined version of the proof was required, and it was given by Galois. And he has given a very plausible proof that it is not possible. And for this, we shall be needing concepts of what is known as
करता नहीं है।
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, hello, good morning, everyone.
गुड मॉर्निंग।
सुनील बात कर रहा हूँ। मुझे लग रहा
हाँ
है
जी,
सर ने मीटिंग छोड़ दी है।
हाँ जी, सुनील जी ज्वाइन कराइए सर को।
सर से कॉल कर लीजिएगा।
हाँ, कॉल कर लीजिए, ज्वाइन कराइए। सर तो रिमूव हो गए हैं।
नहीं नहीं सर आ गए हैं।
आ गए हैं, ओके।
ओके।
सर अब आप स्क्रीन शेयर कर सकते हैं सर।
Sir, slide is visible, but voice is not audible.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm audible now.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now let us continue. So what I was talking that the primary aim of Galois theory is to find to show that any polynomial equation of degree greater than or equal to 5 is not soluble by any general method. And so we were trying to build some building blocks to prove that particular theorem. And for this, we have taken the help of automorphisms. And we have considered collection of automorphisms. Number one, they form a group. Okay, then we consider collection of all automorphisms of any extension K under which elements of remain fixed. That is, if sigma is any automorphism on K and alpha is any element of F, then sigma alpha is equal to alpha. And we said that, and we consider GKF to be all collections of elements of K which remain invariant under each automorphism. And we have shown that if K is a finite extension of F, then the order of this particular group GKF, this is also finite. And there was a relation that order of GK of F is always less than or equal to degree of K over F. Number one, we have got this less than or equal to. Now the question was, under what conditions it is going to be equal? And we have seen the answer in my last lecture that if K happens to be a normal extension of F, then equality always prevails. By a normal extension, we mean a finite extension such that K is a finite extension of F and the splitting field of a polynomial over F is K. And we are going to prove today another important result. That is, a field K is a normal extension of F if and only if K is the splitting field of some polynomial over F. So, as far as proof is concerned, important proof. So let us first assume that suppose K is a normal extension of F. If K is a normal extension of F means K is a finite extension of F. And every finite extension of F is nothing but a simple extension of F. Therefore, I can always find an element alpha in K such that K is nothing but F of alpha. So now I am going to consider GK of F. That is, it is the set of all automorphism of K under which elements of F remains invariant. Now, since K is a normal extension of F, therefore, the fixed field of GKF is F itself. That is, the only elements of K which remain invariant under each automorphism of K is are the elements of F only. GKF, the fixed field is F itself. Now, since K is a finite extension of F, therefore GKF is also finite. And because K is a normal extension of F, therefore order of GK of F is nothing but degree of K over F. So if degree of K over F is N, it means order G of KF is also equal to N. So it contains N elements. Remember, GKF is a group. So let sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma N be all the elements of GKF. Because GKF is group, so it must contain an identity element. Let that element be denoted by sigma 1. Okay, so we have considered this an automorphism in which sigma 1 is identity and sigma 2, sigma N, they are all distinct n-1 elements. Now we have considered alpha in K such that K is equal to F alpha. Now with the help of this alpha, let us consider the images sigma 1 alpha, sigma 2 alpha, sigma N alpha. But sigma 1 alpha is nothing but alpha itself because sigma 1 is the identity automorphism. Now with the help of these n elements, I am going to consider this polynomial Px is equal to x minus sigma 1 alpha into x minus sigma 2 alpha, x minus sigma N alpha. I will show that this particular polynomial is over F and it has got, it splits completely. Okay. So Px is equal to this. If I expand this particular polynomial, then I get polynomial Px is equal to x raised to the power n minus a1 times x raised to the power n minus 1 plus a2 times x raised to the power n minus 2 plus minus 1 raised to the power n into an. Now what are a1, a2, an? They are nothing but elementary symmetric functions. That is, what is a1? It is nothing but sigma 1 alpha plus sigma 2 alpha plus sigma 3 alpha plus sigma N alpha. What is a2? Sigma 1 alpha into sigma 2 alpha plus sigma 1 alpha into sigma 3 alpha plus sigma and so on. That is, it is nothing but summation of sigma I alpha into sigma j alpha, where I is less than j. And they are called elementary symmetric functions. And each of these elements, alpha a1, a2, an, they are invariant under each element of GKF. Okay, so that is, once they are invariant under each element sigma 1, it means a1, a2, an, they all are elements in F, which are in GKF. And so, and since alpha is the root of Px and also it generates K over F, therefore alpha, sorry. So I can say that a1, a2, an are elementary symmetric functions and they are invariant under each element of GKF, and hence they are all elements of F. So therefore Px is a polynomial over F. Further, since alpha is the root of Px and K is equal to F alpha, means alpha generates K over F. Therefore, it means F alpha is the smallest field which contains both F and alpha. So this alpha cannot lie in any subfield of K containing F. Therefore, K is the smallest field which contains all the roots of Px, and hence K is the splitting field of over F. So here we have found a polynomial Px over F for which K serves as the splitting field. I hope it is okay. Now let us see the converse part of this particular theorem. That is, let us assume that K is the splitting field of polynomial fx over f, of some polynomial fx over fx. Then we will show that K is a normal extension of F. Now you know every splitting field is a finite extension. So since every splitting field of a polynomial over F is a finite extension of F, therefore K is a finite extension of F. Now let us assume that the degree of K over F, let this be equal to N. Now we are going to prove this theorem by induction on degree of K, because they are the only the natural numbers, and induction is applicable only on the set of natural numbers. Now if degree of K over F is equal to 1, it means K is equal to F, and we know each element of F is algebraic over F. So in that case, it means F itself is the splitting field of F. And so F is a normal extension of F, because K is equal to F, that is K is a normal extension of F. So for N is equal to 1, the theorem is true. Now let us assume that the theorem be true for all splitting fields K1 over F1 of any polynomial, or rather, let me just assume that whenever K1 is a splitting field of some polynomial Px over F1, then K1 is a normal extension of F1. Let this be true for all fields of all whose degree is less than N. Again, I say whenever K1 is the splitting field of some polynomial over a field F1, implies K1 is a normal extension of F1. So suppose degree of K over F is N, then we will show that the theorem is true for in this case also. So we have already seen that for N is equal to 1, the result is true. So let us assume that degree of K over F is equal to N, where N is greater than 1. Now, since K is the splitting field of some polynomial Fx over Fx, if Fx splits completely over F itself, it means K is the splitting field, it means F itself is the splitting field. So degree of K over F becomes equal to 1, and we have already seen that whenever this is the case, the result is true. So let us assume that Fx doesn't completely split over F. That is, it has got some irreducible factor, say Px in F over Fx. And let the degree of this polynomial or irreducible factor be R, which is greater than 1. Now we are given that because all the fields in this particular section, they are of characteristic 0. So since characteristic of F is 0, therefore, and Px is irreducible polynomial, we have seen earlier that all the roots of Px are going to be distinct. Okay, further, since Px is a factor of Fx, therefore every root of Px is also going to be a root of Fx also. And since K is the splitting field of Fx, therefore Px has all the roots in K. Let these roots be alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha L. So they are the roots of Px and they belong to K. Now further, let us see. Again, since Px is irreducible and degree of Px is equal to R, therefore, if I adjoin any root of Px to F, say alpha 1, so F of alpha 1 over F, it is nothing but R, degree of the irreducible polynomial or minimal polynomial. Okay, so I'm sorry, this is capital F instead of small f. Therefore, capital F of alpha 1 over F is nothing but R. Now we have got this result. Degree of K over F is nothing but degree of K over F alpha 1 into degree of f alpha 1 over f. Now this is later part is R. So this is n. N is equal to degree of k over f alpha 1 into R. Therefore, degree of k over f alpha 1 is nothing but n by R. And this, because R is greater than 1, so this is less than n. So now what we have got? K is the splitting field of fx considered as a polynomial over f alpha 1. And since degree of k over f alpha 1 is less than n, by our induction hypothesis, k is a normal extension of f alpha 1. But we are interested in proving that k is a normal extension of f, not of f alpha 1. Okay? So we proceed that in fact k is a normal extension of f. And for this, what we will see that all the elements of k under automorphism, all the elements of k which remain invariant are in f. That is fixed field of k, gkf is f only. So now let beta be any element in k, and let it be fixed by each automorphism in gkf. So we will show that beta belongs to f. That is our aim, just to show. So let beta belongs to k be left fixed by each automorphism in gkf. Now we show that beta belongs to f. Now, and this will show that k is a normal extension of f. Now let me consider any automorphism in gkf alpha 1. It means sigma leaves every element of f alpha 1 fixed, but f is contained in f alpha 1. This implies sigma leaves every element of f fixed. That is, this sigma belongs to gkf. This sigma belongs to gkf. So any element in gkf alpha 1 is also an element of gkf. Okay, and this implies sigma beta is equal to beta. We thus have sigma beta is equal to beta for all sigma in gkf alpha 1. Okay, and at the same time, what is the fixed field of gkf alpha 1? It is nothing but f of alpha 1, because k is a normal extension of f of alpha 1. So this beta belongs to f of alpha 1. The moment you see that this beta belongs to f alpha 1, this means this beta is nothing but, if I just write in the expanded form, this beta is nothing but a polynomial in alpha 1 over f. So beta can be expressed as lambda naught plus lambda 1 alpha 1 plus lambda 2 alpha 1 square plus lambda r minus 1 alpha 1 r minus 1, where lambda naught, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda r minus 1 are all elements of f. Now for each I equals 1 to r, there exist automorphisms sigma in k such that sigma I belongs to gkf and sigma I of alpha 1 is equal to alpha I. You might remember we proved this earlier also. So from here I have just copied this result that sigma I of alpha 1 is nothing but alpha I. Now since beta is left fixed by every automorphism in gkf that we have seen, therefore sigma I, in particular sigma I of beta, is also equal to beta. Also lambda naught, lambda 1, lambda 2, they are all elements of f. Therefore, all these elements are also invariant under each sigma I. For lambda I lying between 0 and r minus 1. So I can just write sigma I of beta, which is our beta, and this is the expression for beta inside sigma I. Sigma I lambda naught plus lambda 1, etc. I apply these what I mentioned above. This is nothing but sigma I lambda naught plus sigma I lambda 1 into sigma I alpha 1 plus and so on. And if I just apply the result, what I get? Lambda naught plus lambda 1 alpha I plus lambda 2 alpha I. That is, I get a polynomial in alpha I or degree r minus 1. And hence, rearranging the terms, I get lambda r minus 1, alpha I r minus 1 power plus lambda r minus 2 into alpha I raised to power r minus 2 plus lambda naught minus beta equal to 0. Now this shows that lambda I is a root of this particular polynomial. Okay. Lambda I is a root of this particular polynomial. Hence alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha r are all distinct roots of this particular polynomial qx is equal to lambda r minus 1, x raised to power r minus 1 plus lambda r minus 2, x raised to power r minus 2, etc. But since the degree of qx is r minus 1, this is because it can contain only r minus 1 roots, not r roots. So if it is going to contain r roots, it means this is possible only when qx is a zero polynomial. And if qx is a zero polynomial, it means all the coefficients of this polynomial must be 0. In particular, lambda naught minus beta should be 0. That is, lambda naught is equal to beta. But lambda naught belongs to f, therefore beta belongs to f. And this is what we wanted to show, that beta is, if beta is an element in K, then it is left fixed by each automorphism in GKF. So F is the fixed field of GKF. This implies that K is a normal extension of F. It's a very powerful theorem and we'll have application by solving this. And we will discuss some problems also pertaining to this particular section. After that, the question is, suppose K is a normal extension of F, and I consider any subfield, say T of K, which contains F. Will it also be a finite extension of, or will this T also be a normal extension of F? In general, this may not be true. Now the question is, under what condition this is going to be true? And the answer is given by this particular theorem, which will be applied in fundamental theorem of Galois theory, because normally there we just state as a result. Okay, but let me prove this result separately here. It says, let F be a field of characteristic 0. This is our basic assumption. All the fields in this section, they are of characteristic 0. And let K be a normal extension of the field F. Suppose T is any subfield of K containing F. Then this T is a normal extension of F, provided sigma T is contained in T. That is, if T is invariant under each automorphism in GKF. In other words, what we'll say, that T is invariant under all automorphism in GKF. If this is the case, then T will be a normal extension, otherwise it won't be a normal extension. And the proof is, I think today I will prove one part of this theorem, and then I'll discuss some problems. Okay, and that problem is span to minimal polynomials, splitting fields, algebraic elements, etc., so that you can have a refreshing of all what we have done. So let me just prove one part of this theorem. So suppose we are given that K is a normal extension of F. Therefore, being normal extension, it is a finite extension of F. And further, what you are given, T is a subfield of K which contains F. Therefore, T is also going to be a finite extension of F. That is one of the conditions to show that T is a normal extension of F. So T is a finite extension of F. Okay, but every finite extension is a simple extension. Therefore, we can always find some element alpha in T such that T is nothing but F of alpha. Okay, now let us suppose that for each sigma in GKF, sigma T is contained in T. So we shall show that T is a normal extension of F. And what we do, we will apply the previous result, what we have shown, that T is the splitting field of some polynomial over F. Okay, that way, if we are able to show this, this will show that T is a normal extension of F. Now let us proceed further. Since K is a normal extension of F, therefore GKF is a finite group. And its degree, its order is nothing but degree of K over F. So let order of GKF be equal to n. That is, it contains n distinct elements. Let those elements be sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma n. And because GKF contains identity element, so let, without any loss of generality, sigma 1 be the identity function, identity automorphism. Now, since alpha belongs to T, and since each sigma in GKF, we have sigma T contained in T, we have got sigma of alpha, because this is equal to alpha belongs to T, so sigma alpha belongs to T. So what we have got, sigma 1 alpha is equal to alpha, sigma 2 alpha, sigma 3 alpha, sigma n alpha. They're all elements in T. Once you get these elements in T, with the help of these elements, I can form a polynomial. Px is equal to x minus sigma 1 alpha, x minus sigma 2 alpha, standard construction. Let this be a polynomial over where it is, because sigma 1 alpha, sigma 2 alpha, sigma n alpha, they are elements of T. So here is a polynomial over T. So Px is a polynomial over T. Now again, I expand it. And suppose it is equal to x raised to the power n minus a1 times x raised to the power n minus 1 plus a2 times x raised to the power n minus 2 plus n minus 1 raised to the power n an, where a1, a2, an, as usual, they are the elementary symmetric functions in alpha 1, sigma 1 alpha, sigma 2 alpha, sigma n alpha. And because they are elementary symmetric functions, so they remain invariant under every automorphism in GKF. So A1, A2, An, they are all elements of F, and hence this particular polynomial Px is a polynomial over F. Okay. So from the form of Px, we see that Px splits into a product of linear factors over F. Also, sigma 1 alpha is equal to alpha is a root of Px and T is equal to F alpha. This shows that alpha generates T over F. That is, F alpha is the smallest field containing all the roots of Px, and so T is the splitting field of Px. And so, and hence, this T is a normal extension of F. So this proves one part of the theorem. The other part is a little involved. So I will take next time this. But in the remaining time, let me discuss some problems. Okay. Now, when we talk of algebraic elements, we said if K is any extension of F, then an element alpha in K is algebraic over F, provided alpha satisfies some polynomial, some non-zero polynomials over F. And from there, what we have said, that we can always find a polynomial of smallest degree, which we termed as the minimal polynomial for this particular element. And also we said that this polynomial can be so chosen that it is a monic polynomial, that the coefficient of the highest power of this polynomial is 1. Now remember, whenever we are talking of algebraic elements over any field F, so it is very important to see over what field we are just going to consider, because an element in any extension, it can be algebraic over one field, it may not be algebraic over other field. Now, for example, just look up root 3. Root 3, it is a real number. And what is the minimal polynomial of this root 3 over Q? Of course, it is algebraic over Q, because x square minus 3 is a polynomial over Q, which is satisfied by root 3. Now, is it what is the minimal polynomial of root 3 of say over R? Is it x square minus 3 or some other polynomial? Can you answer this? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
I am audible. Can you answer this question? That what is the minimal polynomial? What is the minimal polynomial of root 3 over R?
Sir, degree 1?
Degree, what is that?
यदि सर ओवर R ले रहे हैं तो सर डिग्री 1 का ही पोलिनोमियल हो जाएगा सर?
X minus root 3 itself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But
जी सर.
over Q it is x square minus 3, because root 3 is not a rational number.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
जी सर.
Now let me just change the collection slides. Your slide is visible. Hello.
Yes, sir. Visible
Yes, sir.
Now let us consider this particular problem. Let R be any field of real numbers and Q be the field of rational numbers. So first of all, root 2 and root 3, they are algebraic over Q. There is nothing, no problem in this, because x square minus 2 and x square minus 3 are the minimal polynomials over Q, which are satisfied by respectively root 2 and root 3. Next is exhibit a polynomial of degree 4 over Q. Now there is a standard technique how to solve this. Okay, what you do, let x be equal to root 2 plus root 3. You carry one of these radical number on one side, other to the other side, as I mentioned here.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let alpha be equal to root 2 plus root 3. Then alpha minus root 2 is equal to root 3. I just want to get rid of these radical signs. Okay, I square both sides. If I square both sides, you get alpha minus root 2 square is equal to root 3 square, which implies if you open this square, you get this, and then you carry all the terms independent of radical sign and carry terms containing radical sign to the right hand side. Radical sign simply means square root is cube root, etc. So what you get, alpha square minus 1 is equal to 2. And that is ultimately what you get, alpha raised to the power 4 minus 10 alpha square plus 1 is equal to 0. This is the polynomial. Now we want to show that degree of this is of 4th degree, and degree of q alpha over q, it should be equal to 4. This will be equal to 4 provided we are able to show that alpha raised to the power 4 minus 10 alpha square plus 1 equal to 0 is the irreducible polynomial over q. Okay, that you have to show that this is irreducible polynomial of q. Have you heard the name of Eisenstein criterion of irreducibility? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Eisenstein criterion of irreducibility of polynomials over the field of rational numbers. Remember that or not? I just explained. Suppose an x raised to the power n plus a n minus 1 x raised to the power n minus 1 plus dot 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 plus a1 x plus a naught. Suppose this is a polynomial of degree n, where an is non-zero. Okay. If for some prime number p divides a naught, p divides a1, p divides a2, and p doesn't divide, p divides up to a n minus 1, but p doesn't divide a n, and also p square doesn't divide a naught, then the given polynomial shall be irreducible over the field of rational numbers. Okay, you can just consult this particular theorem in your Herstein's book under polynomials, ring of polynomials. And he has given a plausible proof also there. So if you just apply that particular, now because here the constant time is going to have 1, so we are going to consider some sort of translations. Okay, because linear transformations are always homeomorphism. So if the transformed equation is irreducible, then this will also be irreducible. And it is a trial and error method. There is no set rule for this. That is, you just can see if you replace x by say x plus 1, transform this, get a new polynomial. If that happens to be irreducible, then this will be irreducible. If x plus 1 doesn't work, you can try for x plus 2, x plus 3, or x minus 2, x minus 3. Then it's simply a trial and error method, which with the help of which you can check. But certainly it is irreducible polynomial. And since degree of this particular polynomial is 4, therefore, the degree of q of root 2 plus root 3 over q is nothing but 4. But as far as product of these two is concerned, it is very simple that the degree of what is the minimal polynomial for root 2 into root 3. Again, let me put alpha is equal to root 2 into root 3. Then alpha square is nothing but 6. That is alpha square minus 6 is the polynomial which is satisfied by root 2 into root 3. Okay. Now alpha square minus 6, is it irreducible over the field of real numbers? So I have two prime numbers. I have two prime numbers, 2 as well as 3. Now 2 divides the constant term. And since the coefficient of the highest term is 1, 2 doesn't divide the constant, coefficient of the highest term. And also 2 square, which is 4, doesn't divide 6. So by Eisenstein criterion, alpha square minus 6 is irreducible. And since degree of this is 2, therefore degree of q of root 2 into root 3 over q is nothing but 2. Okay. Now, it is another good question. He says show that root 2 plus cube root of 5 is algebraic over q of degree 6. So first of all, I have to find a polynomial of degree 6, which is satisfied by this particular real number root 2 plus cube root 5. As before, let me just put alpha to be equal to root 2 plus cube root 3. Okay. And then alpha minus root 2 will be nothing but cube root of 5, and then take the cube of both sides. So you will have alpha minus root 2 cube is equal to 5. And again, open this, take all terms which are independent of radical sign and terms containing radical sign. Okay. And next time what you do, you square this. So after solving this, you will have this particular polynomial alpha raised to the power 6 plus 12 times alpha raised to the power 4 minus 10 times alpha raised to the power 3 plus 36 times alpha square minus 25 equal to 0. Okay. Now, this shows that this root 2 plus cube root 3, 5 satisfy this particular polynomial. Now, again, the problem remains that whether it is irreducible or not. Whether it is irreducible or not. So what I am going to consider, because again, that will be a long process, but here powers are 6. Here, and obviously, if you consider prime number 5, then it doesn't serve my purpose. So it will be very difficult to find a prime number which satisfies the Eisenstein criterion. So what are the other alternatives? I have to see. The other alternatives are that I have found another polynomial qx, which is nothing but x cube minus 3 root 2 x square plus 6x plus this. So let px be the minimal polynomial for alpha. Okay. If px is the minimal polynomial, and I know that this particular polynomial x power 6 plus etc., this is satisfied by this root 2 plus cube root of 5, and degree of this is 6. So it means degree of this minimal polynomial px must divide 6. So what are the possibilities? Possibilities of degree of px could be 1, 2, or 3. Okay, these are the possible degrees of px. It could be either 1, but it cannot be 1 because it is not a linear factor, it is not a rational number. So the only possibilities are 2 and 3. Moreover, px cannot also be 2. Because again, by the same argument, if px is equal to 3, then because this degree is 3 and this is minimal polynomial, it means px must be equal to qx. Since qx is the minimal polynomial of alpha over q root 2, it gives you a contradiction. So therefore, degree of px is necessarily 6. Remember this polynomial qx, it is a polynomial over root 2 because coefficients of root 2 are okay, and its degree is 3. If px is also of degree 3, it means the and minimal polynomials are always equal. It means px must be equal to qx. Okay, but degree of this is nothing but 2 over q, and px is of degree 3, so it cannot be there. So therefore, our assumption that degree of or our supposition that degree of px could be equal to 1, 2, or 3 is wrong, and so necessarily degree of px is nothing but 6. So therefore, Therefore, degree of Q of this over Q is nothing but 6. So this is another way of proving whether the given polynomial of any number is irreducible or not. And after that, yes, you know, degree of a number is a real number. Are you convinced? If I say 7 degree, 8 degree, 10 degrees, it is always a real number.
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I hope it is known to everybody. So we say a number or degree of a number is algebraic provided either sine or cosine of that number is algebraic. Okay. So in this case, what we want to show that sine of 1 degree and cosine of 1 degree, they are algebraic over Q. Okay. Now we have got this result. You know the relation between radians and pi. Pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. Pi radians, actually there are 3 methods of measuring an angle. One is degree measure, other is radian measure, and third is what is known as grade measure. Hello? Hello? Hello?
हाँ जी सर।
क्या हुआ?
जी सर।
हाँ, so these are things. Actually, radians and degree, they are related with this relation that 180 degrees is equal to pi radians. Therefore, 1 degree is always equal to pi upon 180. So I am going to use this particular part. So we have sine 1 degree is equal to sine of pi upon 180, and cos degree is cos of pi upon 180 degree. So let me consider any number alpha given by e raised to the power pi I upon q for some non-zero integer q. Okay. Then alpha is equal to e raised to the power pi I upon q is the same as cos of pi upon q plus I times sine pi upon q. And if I raise power q to both sides, then by De Moivre's theorem, what you have got, alpha q is equal to cos of this, which is that cos pi plus I sine pi, and cos pi is equal to -1, sine pi is 0. So this is nothing but -1. So this implies that alpha raised to the power q plus 1 equal to 0. This shows that alpha is a root of this particular polynomial equation, x to the power q plus 1 equal to 0. Therefore, this alpha becomes algebraic. So this is alpha becomes algebraic over q. Okay. Now, what you do, because q is any positive integer. So if I put q to be equal to 180 degrees, it means this will show that sine of 1 degree is algebraic as well as cos of 1 degree is algebraic, because I have proved standard result alpha is equal to e raised to the power pi I upon q. Now, since some difference multiplication quotient of two algebraic number is again algebraic number, and since 2 and I are algebraic numbers, we have alpha plus alpha bar by 2 and alpha minus alpha bar by 2i. They are also algebraic numbers. This gives that both cos pi upon q and sine pi upon q are algebraic over q. Take q to be 180 and you get your desired result. So sine 1 degree, sine cos 1 degree, they are all algebraic. Then they are simple result because I was using vector space. So just to show that or refresh the concept of linear independence and dependence. I had just mentioned this result that show that 1 root 2, 1 root 2, root 3, etc. They are all linearly independent over the field of rationals. And then I come to splitting field. I will come to splitting field. Consider the field R of real numbers and let fx be a polynomial x square plus 1 over R. And if C is the field of complex number, which is an extension of R, and since I belongs to C and I doesn't belong to R, and moreover, I can write fx as x minus I and x plus I. Is C the splitting field of fx? Is this C the splitting field of fx? Answer is yes, because you cannot find any field smaller than field of complex numbers containing R, over which x square plus 1 can be split. So in this case, C is the splitting field of fx. And because it is the splitting field of fx, therefore C is a normal extension of R. C is a normal extension of R. Now I consider another question. Second, consider field Q of rational numbers and consider this polynomial x square minus 2 over Q. And you consider K to be field adjoint obtained by adjoining root 2 to Q. K is equal to Q root 2. Okay. Then obviously K is an extension of Q and is such that root 2 also belongs to K. Thus over Kx, I can express fx as x minus root 2 into x plus root 2. Okay. So K becomes the splitting field of fx because this is the smallest field which contains root 2. No other field can contain root 2. All the fields which contains root 2 shall be bigger than K. Of course, may containing Q also. So whenever we are going to consider, we are going to find splitting fields, it should be the smallest field, which should contain all the roots of the given polynomial. So today I am going to stop here and shall next time also I shall discuss problems related to what all we have done so far. Because after that, I have to state only the fundamental theorem of Galois theory and to prove that. So before that, I just want to refresh that you should be very clear in your mind about what are splitting field, what are fixed field, what are rather normal extensions, or rather separable extension, etc. We shall see different type of problems to illustrate them. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Have a great day.
Thank you.